it on Facebook. So there's got to be a way to do it in settings, but because for some reason on Facebook, I keep having to go over and set the or edit the privacy on it,
That's
which is
weird.
really strange.
Maybe next time before you go into building a show, just go into the settings first and just change it all to open.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so let me change it real quick to public, and then we'll be good to go. All righty. Well, I definitely appreciate you guys, like I said, coming on and hanging out tonight. Of course, I know Mclain's been running around and everything, so I appreciate you making time. I know you had what did you do?
That's me honking, Chris.
Is that what that was? So, all right, let me share just a couple of other places, a couple of indie areas. I really want more people to kind of get a bit more exposure to charter comics and everything, because like we talked about, you guys kind of do things a little different. Not only about how you guys handle the label itself, but first let me introduce Mr. Chris Hayes. He is co-runner of Pastime Comics, and he is also the co-runner of Charter Comics. So hello, Mr. Chris.
Hey, what's going on?
Chris looks all excited, but
I'm trying to share the feed.
Knowing Chris, he's probably over there working right now. He's probably writing
Warcraft.
See,
yeah, that's what it is.
People play that weak game.
Weak game.
And then of course, we got Mr. Mclain Mcguire with us tonight too. Someone who's an incredible letterer. He handles tons of projects, multiple hats he's constantly wearing. He's does a lot of project managed stuff for Kickstarters, lettering for a bunch of different companies. He also helps Chris, like I said, with the Charter Comics thing, the co-runner of that, and Pastime Comics and stuff like that. And then he's also the guy that helps. Does a lot of Chris's lettering and things like that for his books. For those that don't know, Chris is a very talented writer and stuff that has written a bunch of books. So hello, Mr. Mclain.
Hello.
Did he just crash?
No, I said hello.
Oh, there he goes. Okay. May have been on my end. But anyway, so like I said, like I was telling you guys, the reason I wanted to have you on here is because I wanted you guys to be able to talk about Charter Comics, and I'm going back to doing this show. I want to do it at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, where I talk to different types of people that are in the industry, from artists and writers and so on to to the retail side of it, the comic shops and things like that, and of course the actual labels that are out there that are creating indie books. So Chris, let's start with you. When you decided to do the whole Charter Comics thing, when you guys got together and started doing this, and you want to create a label and a home for indie artists and creators, what were you like? What was your whole thinking behind all that?
Pretty much, I think about 2018 when I met Mclain, the end of 2018, I was talking about doing my own books. I didn't have a clue of what to do. We were putting on some hey, I appreciate that. We were putting on some small shows over in North Fort Worth and Watauga, and Mclain called me up and said he wanted to be a part of the show. And I looked at his credentials, and I remember emailing him and like, dude, you're too big for this show. I mean, really, I'm like, we're in like a civic center gym, right, with like 30 vendors, and he goes, no, it's good, man. I like I want to be there. I do really well at the small shows. So him and his wife Marty showed up, and I think they made a killing at that show, selling all these prints and artwork that they did and worked on. I got to meet him. They came to the store right after that. We just started talking then, and then it came out and found out that he did lettering on books, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was like, hey, I got a script. That's all I knew. You Google it, you search it, and once we decided to put the book out, he helped me out with it. We started making books and getting them out there. Mclain owned CCP Comics, which actually did that. He did the same thing what we're doing with Charter. It's kind of a combined effort with two companies. So yeah, he helped promote artists, writers, creators, and help get their name out there. So me being part owner in a comic book store, thanks him, I didn't want any of our books to be associated with the comic book store, because if somebody came up to us and goes, man, I read that book, it really sucked, I'm not shopping in your store, we didn't want that to happen, right? So you can't do that. So we literally said, okay, we got to create a separate entity to self-publish, because again, everybody out here, you, me, Mclain, all of us, you all hope one day you get picked up by Marvel, DC. I mean, that's always your goal. One of the big three grabs you. Your odds are 95%. That's not going to happen being an indie creator. Anybody that's an indie creator will know that. So we're like, you always keep that goal and you keep your head up and you keep working. So our whole thing was, you know what? Why don't we just con both companies and say, the heck with it? Why can't we be the next Image? Image started with a bunch of creators doing their own thing, having their own IPs, owning their own stuff. Why do we have to give a percentage of our money to somebody else?
Right.
Distribution's a big thing. There's 3 main distribution houses that we're working to get in, which is Diamond, Penguin Random House, and Lunar. So we started, and all of a sudden we started meeting great people. I mean, you came to me with like, hey, I got this creator on the story about 2 years ago. We started all working on that together. Oh, Mclain's home with his kids.
Dada.
And then, so that was it. We decided, you know what? Let's just start building this thing. It's going to take us a little bit. It's baby steps. This thing is it's a marathon, not a sprint. A lot of people don't understand that you can't just, you can try to jump into the fire, but you're going to burn, instead of just putting one foot in there at a time. So we're starting off slow. We've got more creating us. It's all about promoting them, seeing what we can do to help get their stuff out there, helping get books printed, and helping get other indie creators' names out there. We got a good group underneath us. I know Lori Calcaterra is one. She's doing her own show right now on a different channel, promoting 5 or 6 other indie creators right now that she's got going on. But I mean, we've picked up, I think, 7 new writers over the course of 6 months, Mclain, I think, and more people daily are messaging us like, hey, how do we be a part of it? It shocks them when me and Mclain both talk to somebody and we're like, here's our whole thing. With Charter, we don't want anything you own. We don't want your money. We don't want your IP. We're not here to steal anybody's stories. We don't know that. We want to help promote you and get you out there with us, because one thing about us, and just like you, we travel to a lot of shows. Mclain does more shows than I do. I mean, there's MegaCon, there's New York, there's Denver, Chicago, Fan Expo, Dallas, a lot of the big ones, San Diego, where you will find CCP Comics and Charter Comics there. Whether if it's me at a show promoting all the books, William, you're at a show, you've got Psycho Sal books. That still comes under Psycho Sal, Charter Comics on the back. You're still promoting books out there. People will grab that and look and say, what else do they have? When you open, literally, we just, I got a shameless plug. One of our Mother's Whisper came in. But when you open the back page, right now, all those will be in next week. We're pretty sure. All the other covers come in next week. So they're coming in waves. But when you open the back, we have an ad of all the covers of all the books. So Psycho Sal's in there, right? Path of the Pale Rider, stuff that even I didn't write. But other books that we try to promote are all listed there because we want people going to those other creators. Right. When you go to our website, it's not about buying books from us. If you go to Orphan Bloodline, which is Richard DeRee's line, and you click on it, it takes you to his website where you can order the stuff from him. That just shows people we're not in it for the money. So we're in it to help promote and, see creators grow, which is what we're trying to do. And again, we're getting a good group underneath us. Our whole goal eventually is to have full distribution across the country. Cameron's right. And Mclain says this all the time. There's a seat at the table for everyone. We're never full. So, and the indie community is completely different than your Marvels and DC. So indie creators, to me, that's what's going to make the comic industry, because not everybody can run around with a cape on, right? So Indie stories are great.
Okay.
You like horror, action, romance, westerns. We've got them all. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's something like, when I came to you with my story, and I came and it was about putting it under Charter Comics and having you write it, and that was one of the things I was looking at, is because I had paid attention to you guys, the way you guys kind of done things for about 6 months to a year. Your shirt says Coast America. And so when I saw you guys at shows, and then when I saw you guys doing Kickstarters, and then I saw how you guys were heavily promoting stuff just because it was either under your banner or it was because you were friends with them on Facebook. You may not have even touched their project. What's up, Sean? What's up, Philip? Everybody, Dale, Melissa. But the way you guys would cross promote one another, again, even on projects that you may not have necessarily been directly involved in, you guys were cross promoting, and you were uplifting everyone that was around you. And that was definitely what made me want to put my book under your label. And then, of course, then I got to experience it firsthand, having you write Psycho Sal for me, and the way you approached it, as if it was your baby also, and not someone just doing a book, you know what I mean? And then, of course, the way Mclain handled it with the promoting and the lettering, and then both you guys being my project managers for all 3 issues so far for the Kickstarter. It just the constant professionalism and the constant, uplifting and everything was definitely what made me want to do it. And the same goes for you, like with you, Mclain. I'd love to hear your feedback on your approach with Charter Comics, and how you guys have handled yourself so far, and your viewpoints on it too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wasn't talking. My kid's like, what? So just like Chris said, in the beginning, when we decided to basically merge both organizations, CCP Comics, what we're doing now, was doing it at kind of a smaller level with, probably the same amount of people, but people that have already moved on to other companies, other, projects and stuff like that. And I'm talking about like people that we had at CCP that have moved on to Marvel, Image, and stuff like that. So
Right.
What Chris was saying about designing a company to help people, as well as publish our own books, as well as give guidance. CCP and Charter Comics is both organizations that give people the right tools, knowledge, and experience to do what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And I think that's important, because what you forget about is how many closed doors there are out there, and there's a lot, and we give the opportunity to people to do all kinds of things, and levels of opportunities too. And like one of them that, like Chris was saying earlier, is promoting people. We're out there promoting people. We're promoting the folks that are under our flag, and the reason why a lot of those folks are under our flags is because it's an umbrella to protect them from anything else that's out there. Because I know for one that Chris does not, and I do not want to own anybody's IP. I don't want that responsibility.
Right.
Nor do I want it. I don't. I'm like Chris. I don't even want the extra work. So we just want to be able to help people, and there's level of help too. It's not about throwing money at people. It's about what you just said: promoting,
Right.
marketing. Working on books. Chris, I don't know how many people we've ran into that's been like, well, I got my book and I got my art and everything like that. I need somebody to help me put the book together. Okay, well, Charter Comics can do that. We got myself. We got a couple other people that can help put that together. And so we're just trying to, we're not even trying to prove anything. We're just trying to help people get where they need to be,
Right.
and step into that right place. And You know, we just pulled a couple new people into the program that have never done Comic-Cons before, but are cranking out creative on titles that look beautiful. And the first question is like, you know, well, what do I do? Well, first of all, you need to go to a show. Well, what do I need to have at my show? Well, here's a list of, you know, tools and things that you can use for the show. But when you get there, look at everybody else's table and what everybody else is doing. Not exactly to copy them, but to get ideas of your own to better your own table. You know, so we're giving sort of that guidance. So, you know, we love what we do because it's helping another individual, not for money, but the reward is to seeing their success and that growth, you know, and that's what's really important, you know, because watching somebody like yourself or any of these other creators soar with their books and, you know, even sell a ton of books at their own tables or things like that, then we've done our job, you know, and we'll continue to do our jobs, you know, and so and that comes along with teaching people how to promote. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't know all the right answers, nor do we know all the wrong answers, but we just know what we do and we know it works. And so that's the formula that we use, and apparently it's working.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that because I had no clue how to do a comic. You know, I can sit and do pinups, I can sit and do covers and all that stuff, and I know, you know, that was real nervous of me. Like when I came to you guys and I was first talking to Chris about it, I had no clue where to go, how to start, what to do, what steps that I needed to make sure I hit. And, you know, and then, you know, I was nervous about even approaching you guys about doing it. You know, I wasn't even sure what you were going to say, you know, like, because most people, you know, let's just be honest, most people are like, it's not my project. I'm not really concerned about it. I don't have time to deal with it. But, you know, you guys sat down and you guys walked me through okay, this is what you need to do. This is what's going to happen. These are the you know, the steps that you need to hit to get everything ready for the Kickstarter. And then you guys, you know, came on and helped run the Kickstarter for me. You set it up. You made sure it was beautiful. You made sure it got promoted. So I can definitely, from firsthand experience, I can't thank you guys enough for what you did for me and my IP, because there's no way in hell it'd be done right now, even this far along, if I was trying to figure it out still. So I definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate how you guys do that with every single person that's under the umbrella. When it comes to Charter Comics, because you made that comment, and we've talked about that before, about there's nothing in the world that says you guys, you know, Charter Comics can't be the next Image Comics. And Lord knows you guys have hit the ground running with that whole, you know, mentality. What's your views of what's gonna, you know, of what you're gonna take Charter Comics into over the next year? Because I know you've got a lot of titles dropping under Charter Comics this year alone.
Yeah, we do. I see Sean Hadako's on here. I hope you're doing well, Sean. That's another indie creator that has built a freaking empire. He's the owner of Comics Elite. If you guys ain't checked them out, he owns Comics Elite Comics, so definitely check those guys out. But they also own Merc Publishing, which you know, he's launched a new Kickstarter today, and that's another group with Kincaid and all those guys that you guys, if you're into indie comics, y'all should be following them as well and looking at the books that they're putting out, because they got some great stuff as well. So that's just it. The indie scene's growing. But you're talking about, and I don't know if it's my internet messing up or one of you guys, but does it keep spinning?
No,
not on me.
It's on my end. Then our internet's been AT&T's been jacked up lately, so I may have to get on my phone here in a minute, get off of the laptop. Anyway, you're talking about the titles coming out. Well, we got Psycho South 3 coming. We got Redemption 2 coming, which is Austin St. John's creator-owned comic. There's going to be Path of the Pale Rider 3 with Lori Calcaterra on Kickstarter right now. We've got Nut Brigade on Kickstarter right now. We've got Richard Garee's new Orphan Bloodline coming in about a month to Kickstarter. We've got, I I know Mike Childress has another Whack Jobs coming out as
You just
well.
had Mother's Whisper.
Mother's Whisper, yeah, just came in today. We didn't even run a Kickstarter on it, so we're going to try something new, which is literally, which we haven't done before. We're actually going to do plane sales on it. We're going to show up at the at cons with the books. We've rebranded Churchill Manor. It's in full color now. It was our first ever book that wasn't full color. But other than that, we've got Carissa Grant, who's on board with us. She now has Worthy Comics Chaos. She's got a new Kickstarter luncheon Tuesday, so I'll be promoting all of this over the next couple of days for people to jump on. Our goal this year, I think.
Left on our Kickstarter?
Do what?
How many more days do we have left on the Nut Brigade Kickstarter?
17.
Yeah.
Oh man, when we hit officially 14 days, check this out. People can get a first look at this.
I can't see anything.
The piece.
Oh,
It's an original.
And for those that are wondering what they're talking about, oh God, let me put the picture up real quick, and then we'll jump back to the other title, because I do want to mention Nut Brigade while we do have that going in Kickstarter right now.
That's an original King Salinas.
Yeah, let me toss the picture up for that, and Chris, give us a little feedback on the Nut Brigade, and then we'll jump back over to the what's coming this year for Charter. But I really want to show this to people, so if you want to give us the rundown.
You put that up. My internet's jacked. I'm leaving here and I'm coming in on my phone.
Oh, okay, all right. So this is the new Kickstarter that's going on from Charter Comics right now. The Nut Brigade issue number 1. This is definitely different than what Chris has done in the past, because he's normally writing horror stuff. Let me re-add him here. I think that's there. Is that oh yeah, I can see you way better now, Chris. I think we lost his sound though.
No.
Oh, there we go. All right, so Chris, give us the rundown on the Nut Brigade since you're back. That was quick. I wasn't expecting you to be that quick.
Give them all the nuts.
This idea, so we always do. I write thriller and horror, but I said, all right, my mind goes all kinds of, right?
Hold up.
Corny.
Yeah. You're breaking up really bad.
Yeah, you're breaking up real bad, brother. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you're breaking up real bad.
Is that better?
Yeah, that might be. Try that.
Internet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, in the house, something's going on. Well, there's all this construction. They're building all these new homes behind us, so they've jacked stuff up. Anyway, sorry. So we wanted something corny and crazy. So I looked at Mclain and I said, I got a story. What about a secret society of squirrels that are assassins that live in the human world? And he literally goes, what's wrong with you? And I go, dude, we're going to take off on this. People like animals, but this is mature reading. This is not for kids. I always say these are not your grandmother's backyard squirrels, because they're not. So there's a team.
Nope.
Yep. They're called the Nature Unit that terminates. They've had some rough times, but they get sent out on missions. And again, it's a mature read. If you're into the corny and the crazy, this is up your alley. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with issue number 1. There's going to be some cool stuff in the books. Issue number 2 is already written. It's about to start being drawn. It takes a whole different level. One of their first missions. There's going to be a spinoff that got sent over to an artist today. There's a bonus page at the back of issue number 2. That's going to lead to a one-shot of something else. There's just so much stuff we can do with this. When you get a group of 7 or 8 squirrels together, all with different personalities. I mean, we got the main squirrel named Ace. So if you've watched The Boys and you know who Butcher is, he's rude, he's crude, he's obnoxious. That's what this guy is. We've got the seductress squirrel. We've got the squirrel that runs around with a backpack with the demo kit on his back, right? His name's Duke. We've got Bolt, who's our really fast squirrel. You know, we've actually got lab rats. So how do they get their weapons, right? Because if you think about a squirrel, if they got a gun, I mean, their bullets are tiny. Right. So how does that happen? Well, there's actually rats in a lab wearing lab coats that are lab rats that do about the dumbest stuff you can think of. We've put in this book, but it's all for fun, right? I mean, people can critique it. Some people are going to read it and go, "Oh, that was stupid." That's what we want to hear. I mean, but
It's
some
meant to
people,
be
our
that
whole thing is to have people laughing and looking forward to the next one. Issue
Yeah.
1 literally will introduce a new recruit to the team. Her name's Meggles. She's a flying squirrel that's afraid of heights. So, so they were all excited to get her because she could drop bombs, but
Right.
things aren't going to work out so well for them. But, these guys are responsible for JFK's death. There's just all kinds of things and all kinds of ways we can go in the direction of this. We've already got the first 4 issues figured out where we're going. I've already had 2 other writers come up that want to write an issue of this. And I'm like, well, yeah, every book's a different mission or something. So just take off and have fun with it. But that's what it is. Kickstarter's doing well. It took off. I think it funded, we said, within an hour.
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, so it's doing well. The covers are great. I absolutely love the covers. I mean, every cover. William, you did the Hitman cover, which I love. I asked you how you do a Hitman homage. You did it.
Yeah.
Lauren did
great,
the
man.
Barbie G.
I love the Full Metal Jacket helmet.
Ryan Palmer.
One of my all-time favorite movies, and like every single one of the covers are just extremely cool and funny.
Where do you see the ideas for issue 2? Issue 1's great, but issue 2, we introduce a new squirrel named Chip. Chip is the slow squirrel that they use to test the power lines. He's like their crash test dummy.
Right.
Chip's a little different.
Oh,
He's got
please
a chip
tell
in
me
his
he
tooth.
walks around with a helmet that says test dummy on it or something.
No, he walks around with other stuff. We're not going to give anything away, but this one is, when he gets introduced, I was literally, Elisa and Brian do our editing. So I was telling them about issue 2 Tuesday night in the store. And when I told him about Chip, Brian looked at me and he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Because we can." I mean, literally, when you get issue 2, you'll see why. It's out there, man. But God, it's fun. And when it gets drawn, I can't wait to see it. Issue 1's great. I mean, Paulina Alvarez was our interior artist. She's out of Uruguay, and she did exactly what we were looking for with issue 1. So the covers are great. The lettering, I couldn't be more happy with this. It is, man, if you're getting into this to think it's going to be something serious like serial killing and all that, well, you are going to grab the wrong book, because that is not what this is about. And this is not a kid's book. We will have rated M on the cover. So, God, if you're a parent, do not let them. There's a lot of language. Let's put it that way. If you've seen The Boys, it's a kind of a little spinoff of The Boys, just a little. There's no superheroes with capes, but, there's going to be some language, a couple other scenes. We've got a special appearance. We got a special appearance in issue 1. That somebody doesn't know that they made the book, but they're in the book. So we'll see what they think about it.
I'm definitely super excited. Like I said, I had a blast doing the cover because, I mean, it's one of those things, as an artist, you kind of get, bottlenecked into drawing certain things over and over and over, certain characters, probably within a 20 list of characters, and you're drawing a certain style and stuff like that. So when you were telling me about it, and you asked me to do a cover, and you wanted to, like the Hitman homage, and I had an absolute blast with it. And looking at the covers on the list, all the photos of them, it looks like everybody had a lot of fun with the covers. I mean, they're all just, pieces of history that we all grew up watching with different movies, things like that. So it's absolutely incredible.
Well, let me point out one thing about the book is that none of you cover artists were given direction. None of you were told what to do. And ironically, and none of you saw each other's covers, but ironically, a lot of you did movie or other homages covers. And we thought that was kind of strange at first, because we kept seeing them. Like, I think it was after the second or third one came through, I was like, somebody talking to somebody, but nobody talked to each other.
No.
And
I mean,
No.
I know me personally, I had no idea who all was even doing covers, because most of the time when we do these projects, when someone asks us to do a cover, no matter who the project is, you know, I know me personally, I don't ask who else is doing a cover, you know, and they don't ever just, you know, come out with that piece of information either. So that's absolutely hilarious that everybody went that route.
No one was asking who anybody or what anybody else was doing. And so we just thought it was kind of funny that they all became homage covers to everything. And it was really funny to see that, because it was kind of like, oh, cool, great minds think alike. That's awesome. But I will plug this because I got it today. But when we hit day 14, which will be 14 days left of the Kickstarter,
right?
This original from where's it at?
There we
this
go.
original from Ken Salinas is going to go up.
Very cool.
It'll be available. So
that'll be a little tier somebody can grab, first come, first serve.
Yeah, 1 of 1.
Nice. So, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about and definitely make sure to put the link to the Kickstarter. You know, if you in the chat too for everybody. But let's talk about what is your, because I know somebody had asked a question earlier. Why are there not more creators getting on board with this being so open to everyone? And I think that's a good question. Me personally, I would imagine, and again, I'll let you guys answer this with your own words, but I think a lot of times it's not even though it's open to the possibility of other creators and stuff like that, I feel like you guys are also very mindful about how and who and what you let into the umbrella, because you guys operate a certain way about the cross promoting, the lifting one another up, the community stuff that a lot of people talk about, but you guys actually walk it. You know, about the brotherly love and everything that you know that you guys try to share. So is that how you guys look at it also? So I'd love to have, you know, Chris give yours, and then Mclain, you know, please give yours. But I mean, I thought that was a really good question, and I think I know the answer, but I'd rather hear you guys speak on it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. With us, it's about the promoting aspect. So I will say we have turned a couple of people away, just because when people approach us, Mclain and I talk to them together, like an interview like this, about, you know, what do they want to see? Mclain's got some of the best questions for them about what do they want to see with their comic. Well, when somebody comes to us and is like, I just have an idea, I want you guys to do everything, I don't want to have to do anything. Well, that doesn't sit well with us. That's right. Not how you promote yourself in the industry. If you want to be a creator, if you want somebody else to do all the work, that's not what we're about. So literally it's pretty much 50-50. I mean, we expect you to promote yourself, promote your book and the company just as much as we're promoting you and putting you out there. That's how you get noticed. That's how, you know, people learn about your projects and all that. We don't have all the answers. We don't claim to have all the answers. We're still small and growing, but we learn from mistakes, and, you know, we're getting better every day on the way we're doing things. I mean, you know, the banners that Mclain makes and the banners that he posts and things like that, and nobody's topping it. So,
right.
But for me, you know, it's all, and, you know, do they fit in with the group? That's another big thing. So, I mean, we have you, William. We'll always say that there's only one of you, that we can't bring another William Russell in. We can't handle it. The stress level would be way too low.
Yeah. Well, that person and I would butt heads, you know, so, but it just doesn't work.
No,
just
so,
one.
I can be the only pain in the ass.
But you're really not. You're, you know, so we love you for who you are. So, but
yeah, I mean, there's no
you
doubt
know what?
about it.
You got to follow them for a reason.
You guys,
people like you.
Super patient, because I know I can be a pain in the ass, and a lot of that falls on to I don't have a very good memory. It was a car wreck long ago, you know, and so my short-term memory about things isn't very good all the time. And you guys have always been very tolerant of me, sometimes asking the same questions multiple times, or it, you know, it pops in my head about, oh, I need to touch base with them about this deadline or this, and it's something I probably talked to you about the day before. So I definitely appreciate how, again, you guys bring someone in, you're patient with them, and you're understanding how everyone's different, that not everybody retains information the same way, or not everybody goes at something at a certain way that everyone else does. So I definitely appreciate that. And again, like on the same question he was answering there, Mclain, what's your feedback on that question too? Are you on the, I mean, obviously you're on the same thinking level as Chris, but I'd love to have your feedback on that too.
Yeah, I think a lot of times one of the questions that was asked that you had asked was like, why isn't it everybody else on board? I think a lot of people get scared, and nobody wants their IP taken away from them. Nobody wants any kind of like, oh, something's going to happen. I get it, but just like Chris said, we interview everyone, and it's you don't have to be badass or anything like that. You just have to have a good track record. And what I mean by a track record is like, a really good attitude for what you're doing and for what you're going to be doing with us. Good communication, good camaraderie between two or three, however many people there are. And, the major questions I like to ask when, people are like, man, I really want Charter to, help me out. Okay, so what are your expectations of us? Because that's a huge thing. Is we could easily just go, okay, yeah, come on, have a seat. Yeah, cool, throw your stuff on the table,
Right.
but I need to know, and Chris needs to know, what are your expectations? What are you looking for us to do? And every time I ask that question, 100% people are like, well, I don't know. I never thought of that. Well, you should, because if I'm going to go out, even the jobs that I get from all these other publishers, when I go out, I let them know what my expectations are on the job and what I want out of it and what they're going to get out of it. And the whole shebang, like, from A to B, like, what are you going to do, and what's going to happen from here? Who's going to be doing as much work as the next guy? And I'm all about helping people out. I'm all about giving everybody the right tools, knowledge, and experience to do what they need to do. But I cannot do it 95%.
Right.
So you have to do your part, so because that's what's going to basically prove to Charter and also prove to the audience that, hey, we brought this person in. They've already put so much work in their project. That lets us know as Charter that, one, you're going to put just as much work, if not more, once we pull you under that umbrella and start helping you out. So meaning that it's almost like a parent to a child is like, when I give you a chore and you do a good job and we pay you your allowance, which, Charter, tries to do their best. If that was the case, the help is the money, basically. The reward is the money side of it, and that's what we do. That's how we get paid. It's like the reward of seeing you succeed. The help that we put into it, man, I really hope that person is given the same amount, if not more, because it's your IP. So it's a struggle. It's hard work. You know this, William. And Chris knows this. It's I'm not soft about it when we go in. I'm like, man, it's gonna be a lot of hard work. There's gonna be times that it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I don't even know where the money comes from, sometimes, but man, you're gonna have a hell of a time. You're gonna be able to follow your dreams and goals on everything that you wanted to do, because when somebody steps into Charter, or somebody does like what you're doing, William, or like that Chris did, and they develop something that they've had on their mind of wanted to do for years, you're one out of about 500,000 people that go outside, open that door, and step out there and go, man, you know what? Today I'm going to do this. And that's what you do. So we're not looking for, like Chris said, we're not looking for, sadly, we're all about helping, but we cannot do it all. So we're not looking to just take everything and run with it. And unless you're selling us your IP, that's the only way we're doing it, but man, we will give every single amount of effort we got to give you the right tools, knowledge, and experience to not only work with us and have us, publish your book and, promote you and get you out there to shows, your books at shows that you may not want to do or cannot afford to be doing, but your book is there. We're going to do all of that work and 10 times more.
Yeah.
But you also have to put in your, 85 cents as well. So.
Yeah, you got to. You got to. I mean, because it's as you get into creating comics, you definitely I've definitely learned it's not a one-man job. There's no way for it to be. I mean, that's very difficult to try to do that. But the other thing I loved about the way you guys do, and like I said, I didn't want to answer him for you. I didn't want to speak up for you guys, so I wanted you guys to answer that question for him. But I'm very grateful that you guys are picky about what you let into Charter Comics, because they got to have the right mentality. They have to have that I'm going to be the biggest grinder in the room mentality to a degree, because then that they're going to put in the amount of work they need to put in to match the effort you're putting in, if not more. And it also, the other thing I love about the way Charter Comics does is you guys encourage the other creators that's under the umbrella to cross promote the other creators that's in that umbrella. It's not just a me show. No matter how hard you're working, it's still not a me. You guys are still saying, hey guys, this Kickstarter starts this week for so-and-so. Make sure you guys share out their stuff, and let's spread the word on that too. And I think that's awesome. More people definitely need to do that.
And we share the responsibilities and stuff like that, which means part of the responsibilities in sharing the part of it, like shows and printing and things like that. We don't just say, hey, we're going to publish a book, probably say it at a show. No, we help you get tables, the best we can. We help you get to shows that you may not be able to get into, help you do events that you might not be able to be a part of, because, of your status or whatever you want to call it. So we pave the way for as much as possible. And you know what? It's an open door policy. Everyone has a seat at our table. If you decide one day you're just like, it's not working, I'm just going to go do my thing. Okay, man, we gave you as much as we could. Man, I just hope I see you out there. And I tell people, as soon as they, we've only had a couple people, as soon as they walk out that door, I say, hey, look, because everybody's always like, well, I don't want anybody to be disappointed or mad. No, the only thing I'm going to be mad at is if you walk out this door and I don't see you on that floor, and I don't see your book out there.
Yeah.
So,
what were you going to say, Chris?
I don't remember.
We were talking about how you guys, you encourage the cross promoting and stuff like that under Charter, and making sure the people you bring under the umbrella has the same energy, like you guys were saying, how important that was.
Yeah. And the group that we got, they're awesome, because we're in a messenger group. William, you're in there. And some of the ideas, I love it, because some of the guys, they'll pass along ideas to other people. Hey, I've done this. Have you tried this? Or, hey, we're doing this. Hey, they'll message us and say, hey, we're talking about doing this. What do you think about this? We want to make these kind of just even cards, right? That Richard brought the other day. It's just little things that they're trying to help everybody out. And again, we're getting bigger. We're getting better. Like I said earlier, we don't have all the answers. We're not going to have all the answers right now, because, we're still growing this thing. But we've got a solid core group of people that want to see each other succeed. Yeah. And that's where you got to start. There's no jealousy. There's nothing like that. It is, we got a group. Everybody wants to see everybody's project succeed. And I'll go back. I see constantly, not only me and Mclain and you, but the other guys that are with Richard, Lori, Carissa, Mike. If you look at their feeds, they're constantly promoting stuff, constantly promoting each other, and pushing anything we post. We all share. Like I said, I got to do another round of promotions for the upcoming Kickstarters that I'm going to do. Mclain builds banners on that to get it out. We're in a bunch of different groups, and it's just trying to get eyes on everybody's projects. This is an industry to where you can get frustrated really easy. And we try to tell people if they've never done a show, one thing we always say, you can't get frustrated. You can go to a con, you can set up. I've been at a show where I've done $17, and I've been at a show where I've done over 1,000. So just on selling $5 books. So you just never know what people are looking for that day. And that's just something you cannot get frustrated about. When you go there, it's about getting eyes on your project. What you may not know is, have your social media, be positive on your social media, because people will follow you and they'll see what you got upcoming. I know we've picked up 24 new followers just since we launched Nut Brigade.
Yep.
People weren't into the thriller and horror, but once they see this crazy squirrel book, it's caught their eye, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" So, that alone is going to draw people in with followers, and it could be anything. To me, there's a story out there for everybody, whether it's squirrels or a serial killer in New Orleans or a ferryman, going down the boat, or undead. There's people love everything. So to us, we've got a full variety of stories to offer people. And I think you look now, we have over 28 titles, 31 titles, with more coming. We'll have another 15 launching. Not every comic should be made. That's true.
That's true. You got to put down the groundwork, man. You got to make sure you put in the effort. You can't just jump out there with some random thing and then all of a sudden, and you got to set expectations too. If you're brand spanking new, you can't jump out there and go, "Hey, I need $20,000, to do this Kickstarter, and that's my goal, my thing to make it successful in the Kickstarter." So that's definitely right, Sean. You got to be mindful. You got to lay the groundwork, and again, that's one of the things I love about the way Chris and them approach these projects. They'll give you their honest opinion about the concepts and ideas and what you need to do first to kind of get it to that point.
Yeah, and we're not here to change anybody's story whatsoever. Your story is your story. You gave me, before I wrote it, you gave me your guidelines of what you wanted. I took what you wanted and put it into my words and kept your stuff in there as best as I could. We made a couple of changes because you were like, "Hey, can I do it?" But that's what you're supposed to do. You got to take constructive criticism in this industry. You got to be willing, like Sean said, not every comic does need to be made. You may have an idea out there that somebody may tell you right off the bat, and you can talk to 10 people and they'll all be like, "Yeah, I don't know if I would do that." You're going to lose money.
Sounds good up here.
Yeah.
But when you put it on paper.
Well, we've all seen those books at cons too, because you can walk around somebody's table and be like, "What the hell were they thinking?" It's just the indie world is completely different. I turned down tons of ideas. Some of you guys, same as you guys.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, Sean. It's not cheap to make a comic. People are like, "Oh, okay." When they come into the community, "What's up, Mclain?" They want to make a book, and we tell them, "Hey, we have connections with interior artists, with cover artists, with we have a letter that you can use. We've got everybody. We've got printers. We got whatever. We've got all the tools that somebody can. They don't have to use our guys. By all means, we'll tell you how to go out and find interior artists, cover artists, and all that. We have a crew of people."
That's true.
That's true, right there. But you know what? When you're
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. But when you're out there creating a book, you can find cover artists. If you're just wanting to create something to get it out there in somebody's hand, you can find the interior artist for $10 a page, but you're going to get a third grader drawing it. That's what it comes down to. And then they can go up to almost $200 a page for interiors. You have to budget. You have to be smart. One thing we do is, and again, we don't. That's what we always say. It's somebody comes in, it's their IP. We'll help them. We'll guide them and tell them, "Hey, we can use these guys. We can get deals on prices sometimes, on some printing and interiors and covers and all that." And a lot of times, William, if we got a new writer come in, they need a cover. What have you done? I'm gonna just say, "Hey, you trade work for? Hey, I'll do a cover. I want you to write this for me, or give me ideas on this." And people do that. That's working together.
And then also by having that brotherhood, by creating that actual brotherhood, and sisterhood, or however you want to word it, but creating that connection and being that close knit. Yeah, you can trade work for work, but then also there's moments where somebody may go, "Hey, William, dude, my Kickstarter's next month. I need a cover. I know you're probably busy. Could you squeeze me in?" And we'll do our best to squeeze you in because you're in that circle with us. I mean, I've had people do covers for me that I know they were slammed, and even though regardless of paying or not, of course I'm paying, but my point is they made that time where they were normally slammed, and they squeezed it in.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a great thing about, like, a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to get wrapped up in. I think that's a terrible way to look at things. There's nothing wrong with having that camaraderie and that type of close knit, creative circle going, like with what you guys do with Charter. So
Yeah. One thing to back up on a subject, you're talking about books coming out. There's one thing we are going to be launching in a couple months that we've never done. We've got a kids book coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually have a kids book coming. So we have a creator named Mcguire that has done a kids book, and it's pretty cool. So
very cool.
It's about being done. You're going to see a Kickstarter on it, but it's pretty cool. It was his idea. It's Mclain's son, so he can tell you more about it. But I've been seeing the pages and the covers.
Very cool.
It's really cool. So he should be pretty.
So who's your kids drawing it, or your kids writing it?
So Keegan, he's the creator and writer, and he had ideas about how the art should be and stuff like that. And so, so gracious to Paulina for drawing the book for him. And dude, I got to tell you, like, it's a book that you have to, as any father has to smile and go, man, that's awesome, because you don't want to cram things down kids' throat. But One day he came to me, and it's about a year ago, and he said, I got this idea about this story, and he had the title and everything, and he says, he knows I make logos all the time, so he says, Dad, I'm gonna let you make the logo. And I was like, oh dang, shit, I gotta have it. And he was like, but you gotta make it to where it looks like a bubble. So like his book is called The Thinker. And so it's the logo's a bubble basically, and it says the word thinker in it. But anyways, it's basically about
we lose him again. See, when he gets on, he's having internet. He's got AT&T as well. It's the whole area.
Yeah, he just straight up froze.
Yeah, he does. I'm telling you, it's the whole area. So he lives about 5
I think everybody's gone.
Oh, there you go.
There's everybody. That's really weird. Like, everybody's having internet issues, right?
No, that one's you.
Was that me? That's weird. You guys both went out, and I was just like, hi.
It might be time to reset those routers, man.
Dude, we just had our router replaced twice.
Yeah, me too. About 2 weeks ago.
It's crazy. Oh, wow. But yeah, just a quick view of his book. So Keegan is very intelligent when it comes to like electricity, planets, and things like that. And so he loves power lines. Since he was 2, infatuated with power lines and how they operate and stuff like that. So the book is basically about Keegan walking home from school, and he sees like a power line has gone down somewhere, and there's this like loose cable in the sidewalk where he's walking, and he's like, well, I should pick that up and move it out of the way, but I got to be very cautious because you don't want to get shocked or anything like that. So he goes and carefully tries to move it, and it shocks him to death, and he dies right there on the spot. This is Keegan right here. Hey, say hi.
What's up, Keegan?
So he when he supposedly dies, he wakes up immediately, and in the panels his body starts healing. So apparently, he's got powers, and so Keegan walks home, right? And or walks about your book, The Thinker. Yeah. He's like, yeah. So
giving my secrets away.
Yeah. So once the kid gets home, you kind of figure out everything else that's going on with it. And I've been lucky. I had a couple artists come to me, and do a couple free covers for Keegan. One of the ones that was just delivered from Brandon Heyman, I couldn't stop laughing because there's a part of the book that's very important, and Brandon drew it as a cover, and I was showing it to Chris and them, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're gonna launch a Kickstarter probably in the next couple weeks. The pages are being colored right now, and Keegan's 8 years old, and it was his idea, and he'll be sending a couple videos as marketing to talk to people about his book and things like that. And so he's excited. He's pumped. He's already writing issue 2, which is a different title, but it's the continuation of this book. Oh, okay. So, and the book's only like 12 pages. So,
right.
But
I'll definitely have to grab a copy of that for my grandson then.
Yeah, dude, sure. It's so much fun. Like it to the T where when Paulina was drawing it, and I'll give you one thing away. You already give one thing away, is as Paulina was drawing it, I was showing Keegan the pages, and he was like, "Man, these pages look really good, Daddy. They look really good." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so glad you like them." And he says, in the story, I don't see Sophie. Sophie's our cat, right?" And I was like, "You wanted the cat in the book?" He goes, "Well, yeah. The cat has to show up." So even like Ken did a cover. Ken was one of the first covers.
Yeah.
And he thought Ken's cover was fantastic. And then he was just like, I had Ken on the phone one day, and he was giving Ken a couple critiques on things that he wanted to change on the cover. And then he was like, Uncle Ken, I don't see Sophie on the cover. And Ken was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, Sophie's not on the cover, so you'll see the cat on the cover." Yeah, but oh yeah, that's my old iPad.
Do you not use it anymore?
I don't think it works.
Well, I found the charger, and if it's on the Mevo's iPad charger,
Okay.
if it's on
Try to charge it.
I'm gonna charge it and see what apps we got on there.
Okay. So.
Well, we'll definitely get that one shared out when you guys kick that one off. That'll be really cool to have an actual kids book under Charter too. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Like he even like I even had to ask him like I'm gonna letter the book, right? And he was like, "You are?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he was like, "Let me think about it." So like in 24, there was a hectic 24 hours. I almost didn't have a job.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about, and we'll wrap it up here because I know you guys have got stuff you got to do tonight too. But let's talk about real quick about because as of right now, Charter Comics probably has what, about 15, 20 titles?
We should have about 22 if I'm right, and that's not counting what's about to be released.
Right. Because you guys have got some big stuff that's about to drop here soon too. I mean, obviously, my shameless plug. We're Psycho Sal number 4. If everything goes well, that one's being written by Lori, and we're changing that perspective, and that should drop probably somewhere around the end of May. But you guys have something else that's right around the corner, Chris. With, I'm assuming I can mention it, Valhalla.
Oh yeah, we had more pages turned in today, so. I started writing the Ferryman series and it took off. So we've got I'm big on Viking lore and Viking history. So you don't see a lot of that out there. So we've got Ferryman Valhalla comes out, which talks about a king named Eric. Imagine that, a Viking named Eric. Betrayed on the battlefield, and he meets up with the ferryman. So it's a one shot. Right. Dude, the interiors, holy crap. This stuff is. And the covers, we're waiting on one more cover, which we're good right now. But we figure in May, late May, we'll be launching the Kickstarter for that. And we're pretty pumped on this one. The covers that we have, the interiors that we have on this all fit. So
yeah, I'm super excited. I've seen some of the covers.
This will be a lot of fun. I really think this will be our top selling Ferryman book.
I got a feeling it will too, because I'm super proud of my cover, and I know everybody says that about their own damn work, but I can't. Like I got it scanned yesterday. I sent it over to Dave Kemp that's going to do the colors for me. But I've seen some of the other covers too, and they are definitely a bit of bar raising going on for sure. I think everybody was like that. That it seems like everyone that's done a cover for this book they really swung for the fences and got super excited. So I think the fans are going to do the same thing.
Yeah, when the covers start coming out, probably in about 2 weeks, we'll start showing covers. You, Ken Salinas did a cover. David Sanchez did a cover. Jonathan McDaniel, Ryan Palmer, Martin Zavala, Peter Smith, who's done stuff at Disney, works for Disney. So he drew a really badass Valkyrie on his as well. So that one, he thought out of the box on that one. So we are, we got a good group of cover artists on this one. We didn't go crazy with a lot of covers. Zach Spivey has one. We turned down about 7 people for covers, and that happens sometimes, and they get mad at you, and there's nothing you can do. There's some projects to where you don't want 10 covers on a book. So
because one of the other things you guys try to do as Charter Comics is you guys try to make sure the Kickstarters aren't overly flooded and overly priced, and you guys aim to make them affordable for every single person, no matter their income level.
Right.
Which is
there should be something for everybody. Yeah, everybody should be able to afford a Kickstarter.
Yep.
An indie book. $10 is a good price on an indie book. $5, $6, $8, up to $20 on special stuff. I mean, I've seen Kickstarters out there and everything. I just went back to one. Matter of fact, while Mclain was talking, I was on there. Went back Sean Hidako's new project because
I'm about to jump over and do
looks really freaking cool. The covers are great on that. So, it's just people supporting each other. But man, Ferryman, we're excited. We've already had 3 stores reach out wanting to do an exclusive on it, and it's one of those where like, you're good to go. Slow down. The book's almost done being drawn. We won't launch a Kickstarter until the book's completely done. Because we don't want any delays. So
somebody asked me that a few days ago. They sent me a PM, and they're another creator, and they were like I heard you mention this on one of your videos that not only you but the other people in Charter Comics, or at least that pertains to Chris and them, you guys already have your books done by the time the Kickstarter starts. And I was like, it's like 99% done by the time we activate our Kickstarters. I know I do it for my book. I know Chris does it for his titles. I was like, I can't speak for everyone. I don't know everyone else's ins and outs. I was like, but I know that's something that Chris does with every single one of his titles. And that was something he encouraged on me also, that I should do it that way. And I did, and I'm glad I do it that way. Because by the time we hit go on the Kickstarter, I mean, it's like 98, 99% done. Like the only thing left to do is just a couple little minor edits or something, and that's it. And I'm so glad you guys, convinced me. And he was like, how the hell do you do that? And I was like, you save your money and you pay people. And he's like, oh, you're not paying people on the back end? I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, anyone that works on the projects, they're paid right then. I was like, we don't do that. Oh, we'll give you some money later. Let's see how everything works out. Like, I was like, no, we don't do it that way. He's like, oh, okay. I didn't know you guys were like that. I was like, yeah. I was like, we don't want to owe anybody, and we don't want to make anybody wait for the books longer than absolutely necessary.
Well, and let me add to that real quick. Is like, you can do your Kickstarter, and I'm speaking to everybody out there. You can do your Kickstarter any way you want, but I would really feel comfortable if I was working on your book or your Kickstarter, whatever it is. I would personally feel more comfortable knowing exactly what William just said. Going into the Kickstarter, maybe having a page to do, and maybe having a couple edits that you're running through. That way you have 30 days of a Kickstarter running. That gives you 30 days to look over that book. And to me, that's the only right way to do it. I mean, we just spoke about Keegan's book. It's 12 pages. Everything's done. The Kickstarter's built. The Kickstarter's been built for a month and a half. And I think I just moved the launch date to May or something like that, because Paulina was adding an extra page, and I was like, I'm just not going to do the Kickstarter unless that book's done. I'm just not going to do it, man. I'm probably going to edit a few pages when I hit launch, but man, this book's going to be done, and I think that's important, because you don't want to be left where your Kickstarter ends and then you're like, well, I guess I need to finish up the book. And then it takes you 30 days to finish up the book. That's just my perspective. Everybody's different, but I mean,
no, I'm glad you guys suggested it that way. I don't have to worry about nothing. I mean, even though I still worry, I'm worried when something's going to print. I'm worried. I'm just going to worry. That's just me. I'm always concerned because I don't ever want to make people feel like I'm making them wait. So that's one of the reasons, like when you guys told me I could do it that way and that it's safer that way, I'm so glad I did it that way. If I was doing it like most people do it, I'd be terrified right now.
And not everything goes as planned. I mean, and that's what you got to prepare for too, is like, not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything's going to go as planned. And there's always going to be something. And, that's why I think another point is you want to have that book ready to go right when you hit launch, because then that gives you 30 days to make up for anything that's going to happen. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Well, guys, let me wrap everything up for you guys. Chris, let's jump over to you real quick. What projects have you got coming up that you want people to kind of keep their eyes open for? I know, like I said, we know Valhalla's one. Any other stuff you got down the pipeline out of your own crazy mind that you're going to be dropping off this year?
Valhalla, Redemption 2. What else we got coming down the pipe that'll all be released this year? We got
Nut Brigade 2.
Nut Brigade 2. We've got Detour 3 and 4. Detour 3 is being dropped right now. We've got a new one me and Mclain created called Mistaken. That's really cool. It's a one-shot about a couple of serial killers. So
there we go.
Twist. I've got another one I'm doing with a couple other creators, JD and Monica, called Till Death Do Us Part. Already started on that script.
Nice.
Yeah, and then there's a couple more. There'll be another Ferryman one in there that's going to be thrown in about or two. So there'll be another Ferryman, maybe one or two more Ferrymen coming out. So,
and if everything goes good, we should have Psycho Sal 4, 5, and 6 before the end of this year.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Because I'm trying my best to stick to that about a month and a half between each book. I'm trying my best to stay to that. So, so is there anything you guys want to share with anybody about whether it's just insight into the indie world, like what they should be concentrating on, or anything like that before we wrap?
Gosh, that's an open-ended question. Concentrate on what you want to do and how you want it to operate. Now, again, reverse about 2 minutes ago when I said not everything's going to go as planned. But when you're going into a project or you're going into a Kickstarter or anything like that, make notes, have an expectation of how you want this to start and end, and do your best to do it that way. And don't hesitate to ask for help from anybody. If somebody just doesn't want to help you, then move on to the next. So
very true. What about you, Chris?
Well, what he said, about creating, you hear a lot of things, and create for yourself. If you're going to create a book and you got something to write, then, to me, is do it for yourself, because you're going to have fans that like your stuff and some that don't like your stuff. They're going to like you as a creator. They're not going to like you. You're not going to please everybody.
Right.
So if you got something to come to the table, we'll definitely listen. Sean was on there saying the same thing. They've had to turn people away too.
Yep.
Everybody's got ideas. If you got an idea and you're passionate, bring it to the table. We'd love to hear what you got.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, and then we'll wrap. If you're going to be a new creator, or if you're going to be a new artist, new writer, or whatever you're going to be, no matter what it is, treat this as a 100% passion, and make sure you're the biggest grinder in the room, or try your best to be the biggest grinder. The more you promote, the more you hustle, the more people are going to take a notice one way or another. And if you do approach someone with your idea and it may not be a right fit for their label or something like that, don't get discouraged. Go back to the drawing board, or either pitch your idea to some other people. Don't let it just close the door on you. And the same thing goes with art in general. If you're wanting to do a cover for one of these IPs or anything like that, don't be discouraged if you were to get turned down for a cover, because we, as a creator myself, we only have a limited amount of spots per title that we can put artists into for covers. And if we tell you no, it's not a no. It just could be no for that moment, and it has nothing to do with your art style or anything like that. Most of the time, it's just because we have the limited spots. But thank you guys, man. I appreciate it so much. Chris, Mclain, thank you guys for coming on. Like I said, I'm gonna start doing this show. Try to do it once a week, talking to different people in the industry from different perspectives. Guys, if you're not following Charter Comics, if you're not following Chris and Mclain on their pages, definitely make sure you're doing it. Make sure you show some love and support to the indies. These guys put their heart and soul in every damn thing they do. There's so much work behind the doors that you guys have no clue of all the extra effort they do. And again, I can't thank you two guys enough for everything you do for me with Psycho Sal and helping with my career and stuff like that. So definitely thank you guys so much. And you guys make sure you follow that link. Go support Nut Brigade. Go check out all the other Kickstarters that's going on right now with the Pale Rider with Lori. Make sure you guys keep your eyes open for the future projects coming from Charter Comics. And for everybody that tuned in, thank you so much for listening to us just kind of ramble on about indie stuff.
Mm-hmm. Everybody that tuned in, you get a free original print from William.
There you go. See how easy it is? Yep. And Mclain's going to ship them all. So, but anyway, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you guys again so much, Chris, Mclain. I appreciate it. And I will chat with you guys later.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys. Again, everyone in the channel that showed up tonight, I appreciate it so much. The fans, you guys are what make every bit of this possible. You've heard me say that many times on live videos and stuff. If it were not for the fans, there is no indie. There is no comics. There are no conventions. There's no fandom, obviously. So a huge thank you, you guys. We appreciate you. We love you guys tremendously. All the sharing you guys do, all the likes and comments, and of course the financial support that you guys show. We can't thank you enough for it. But like I said, go check out Charter Comics. They're a great group of people who put fans first and who put other fellow creators first. So again, thank you guys. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope you guys enjoy the start of your weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. So hope you guys have a wonderful time. Take care, guys. Sure thing, Mark, man. You guys just yell whenever, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Later, guys.